Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special show tonight. We are here because we have a panelist who has an opinion that is very divisive. I mean, it is, but we are going to put Lunchbox Warren on trial here. Lunchbox Warren is bringing a case to us that he feels that Tom Cruise is a replaceable actor, that he is very replaceable. Any movie that Tom Cruise has ever been in, they could replace him with an actor from that era or someone just as famous, and the movie will be just as successful. And we are going to hear from Gray Poupée and Bob and maybe Charles, we don't know yet, on whether or not that is true. And we will see the arguments against it. So here we go. Warren, what is your argument here, and where did this come from?
Fuck, the Mormon church is here too. What's going on here?
I didn't have a suit and tie.
I'm talking about this guy.
My argument is
you're out of order, Charles. You can't talk right now.
That's right, Charles. Show this court some respect. You didn't in the way that you dressed, but you could with the way that you use your words.
I brought a hat.
Sorry about that last.
I brought a hat. It deserves respect. Okay. No, good, Warren.
My argument is pretty simple. I think Tom Cruise is a moderately talented actor. I think he has the personality and charisma of a fence post. Recently, there's been AI videos made with Tom Cruise, and one of the reasons I knew it was instantly AI is because the lifeless AI program gives him more charisma than he has in real life. Whether it be now, don't get me wrong, he has a long catalog of movies that I do like, even ones as famous as Top Gun, Cocktail, Last Samurai. I'm a big fan of the Mission Impossible movies. But the point of this is not whether or not they're good movies. The point is whether or not Tom Cruise made them good movies. Did any movie that he was in, did he elevate the movie and make it to the point where he could just be replaceable? If one argument could be made for Tom Cruise is the fact that he is such a wooden actor that you could bring him in and you won't have to worry about his acting bogging down the story and allowing the movie itself to breathe. You couldn't say this about Daniel Day-Lewis, let's say, as the butcher in Gangs of New York, Leonardo DiCaprio as in Django. There's plenty of roles out there that many actors have done where they have elevated even mediocre scripts and made them better. Tom Cruise has not done that. And Brad Pitt is an example of someone who's close to only a year younger than Tom Cruise. Brad Pitt would have done much better in Days of Thunder. Brad Pitt would have done much better in Top Gun. Kurt Russell would have been amazing in Last Samurai. Josh Brolin could have done Last Samurai. There's a lot of movies out there that Tom Cruise has been in, and he has been in some bangers, don't get me wrong. But none of those movies have been made good because of Tom Cruise. Even in the Mission Impossible movies, the tagline for that was that, hey, let's watch this actor do his own stunts. It was not believable in any of his roles. The love interest just fell in love with him because the script said so. He just kind of looked at him with that weird, kind of creepy, squinty-eyed look that he has, and then he does his own stunts where he breaks a leg or hangs off of the side of an airplane. But there's really no motivation or reason why any of the love interests would have fallen in love with him. Even in a film where he probably showed a lot of range would be like The Interview with a Vampire. Still, though, that movie was all Brad Pitt's. And his job as Lestat was not enough groundbreaking. The actors around him are what made that movie, not Tom Cruise himself. Even when you go back as far as Legend, that movie, he still is just essentially insert actor A into this role. There's nothing that he does in Legend that makes it to the point where you couldn't have put in a Brad Pitt who would have been a year younger than him. And if you see like roles that were in his younger years where he kind of had that whole kind of twinky look to him, that's the same as Tom Cruise did. But nothing about his acting ever stands out to the point where it's like, wow, I'm really glad I watched Tom Cruise do this. I'm really glad I watched.
Okay, we got the point. Warren. We got the point. Gray, I'm gonna let you make your argument against him, and then you can call your witnesses and see if they have any movies that they want to argue that he is
Sure. Well, Your Honor, I respect you, your court, and this time that you
And
are
the
giving
hat?
me. So, of course, the hat. How do you not respect a hat like that? Have you seen the band on the hat? Yes, of course, I respect that, Your Honor. And because I respect your time so much, I'm going to try and keep this brief because I don't need to say much. But let me start with, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. We are here today because Lunchbox Warren committed a drive-by take so reckless it should require a helmet and even a waiver. He said out loud with chest that Tom Cruise could be replaced in any film he's ever made, and the movie would be the same. The same. That's not critique. That's not a glitch in the Matrix. That's a cinematic flat earther energy take right there. You're telling me that you can swap out the gravitational core of a franchise and the orbit would just politely continue? Nay, I say. That the movie doesn't even wobble? How dare you? That would be like saying you could replace the caffeine in coffee and nobody would notice. That the moon could take a sick day and the tides would just freelance. The prosecution intends to prove that this claim is not criticism. It's not opinion rooted in taste. It is slander disguised as smugness. You will see evidence of a performer whose presence is not ornamental, but architectural. A leading man whose intensity is not interchangeable, but engineered. A craftsman who's committed. His utter commitment just it reshapes the film around him as if he is that gravital center. You cannot swap out the engine of a jet mid-flight and declare the aircraft unchanged. Although a jet engine and a ceiling fan are technically both air movers, they are not interchangeable. Warren's claim is not an opinion. It was vandalism of reality. Cruise is not just a man in a movie. He is velocity with dialogue. He is intensity with cheekbones. He is the human equivalent of a practical stunt with slightly misaligned teeth. What Mr. Warren has done is not critique. It is a claim that presence does not matter, that commitment does not matter, that the strange electric alchemy between actor and audience is just plug and play. And today, we charge Lunchbox Warren with slander in the first degree against a great actor's name. We will show that Mr. Cruise's career is not a collection of interchangeable placeholders, but a series of cinematic moments so specific, so committed, so unmistakably his, that to deny their singularity is to deny gravity itself. By the end of this trial, you will see that this was not just a bad take. It was a reckless and slanderous one. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you also to find him guilty of aggravated underestimation in the first degree. The prosecution rests its opening salvo.
Okay. So I thank you very much, Mr. Gray, for committing to utter commitment, as you so eloquently stated. But you can bring your first witness. Who are you calling?
The court would like to call one Bob Loves Movies. Bob, sir, I am calling you as my expert witness. What do you have to say to enlighten the court on Mr. Cruise?
Well, first I have to swear you in, Bob. Bob,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
swear
sorry.
to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because that's what we're doing.
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, there you go. The hat is yours.
Well, hold on.
I know this can be rough.
Yeah, I got to pull myself together because what he said just cut me so deeply. But the argument that Mr. Warren is making is false. And the reason it's false is because of one movie, and there are several movies that Tom Cruise cannot be replaced, but there is one movie for sure he cannot be replaced, and that is Top Gun Maverick. And the reason why you cannot replace him in Top Gun Maverick is because you already made Top Gun. And because you already made Top Gun, he is the star. And if you try to recast Maverick for the sequel, there is no way that Top Gun Maverick makes $1.496 billion. One of the reasons why it made $1.496 billion is because we knew that Tom Cruise was coming back for a Top Gun movie. It was that drove people to the theaters, and then along with word of mouth, is it being a good movie? And I understand what Mr. Warren said, that he can make a good movie and not necessarily have a good performance, but there is no way in hell that if you recast that role, that Top Gun Maverick makes that type of money and has that type of success. It becomes another movie that falls away during that virus of unknown origin during that time. But instead, because it brings back your main star, it goes on to become what it is. You try making that movie without him and see what happens.
Warren, what do you have to say to that?
Well, inside of it, if you made Top Gun with a different actor, then in my argument, that would have made it a better movie. Thus, if you made Maverick, you would have used the actor that you would have replaced him in Top Gun. So I do understand what you're saying, is that you can't replace an actor, the main actor, in the sequel. But if we're talking about him not being in the first original Top Gun, then he wouldn't be in Maverick.
But that's
I would argue that if
your argument is that he
That's
can
not
be
the
replaced
argument,
in
though.
any movie. And if you've already made the first one with him, you cannot replace him in the second one.
Well, yes,
That
that is a technicality, but in the same breath,
but it's
though,
true.
you wouldn't have made Top Gun with him in the first place, so then you wouldn't have made Maverick with him in the first place. And plus, two, I mean, he didn't do anything in Maverick to make it better. Maverick was good because it was a good popcorn movie with great flights in it. We're talking about if we're replacing him through his entire catalog, which would also include sequels, because he wouldn't have been in the original. Now, to me, that's just kind of a technicality of it, where it's like, yeah, well, he was in the first one, so you can't replace him in the sequel, which I agree with. But at the same breath, though, if we're going to talk about what the nexus of my argument is that he wouldn't have been in the first one. So then he would have been, whoever was cast in the first one would have been cast in the second one. And also, too, it doesn't answer the argument of, is his quality to the point where you could switch him out, and then that would make the movie worse or defining. Like, he didn't define Top Gun. Top Gun might have defined him, but it was nothing that he did in the first Top Gun that was defining to the point where it's like, oh, if Brad Pitt or someone else along the same age group was cast in there, I feel Top Gun would have been even a better movie. More people remember Iceman than they do Maverick on a lot of aspects, in my opinion. But even though you are technically right, if he's in the first Top Gun, then he wouldn't have been. You couldn't replace him in the second Maverick movie. But we're talking about movies that, is he a replaceable lead actor in all of his movies? And if you replace him in Top Gun, then he wouldn't even be in Maverick.
Yes. Okay. So we are arguing semantic dispute or metalinguistic negotiation. That's what it would be in court, right? So actually, the case would not necessarily be that he would have been replaced in the original movie, because the second movie came out, period, regardless.
Warren,
so even
your legal assistant passed you a note in private chat, if you don't mind.
So it wouldn't have even if he wasn't in the first one, the fact that he was in the second one is precedent enough. Like, but there.
Well, and also in the same aspects, it's not like lead actors have been replaced before. And I don't know, and I don't even know if you had to necessarily bring back Maverick, if that would have hurt the movie as much.
Well, it was called Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, the whole precipice of the movie was being called Maverick. But Gray,
Well, it just is. So essentially, what we're saying is that you had to cast Tom Cruise because he was in the first one, but not because it was important to the actual integrity of the film or he did anything in the movie.
Well, you technically didn't have to. You could have casted somebody else if you wanted to. You could have changed the character altogether and had a different lead character, but that's not what they did because that's not what would have made the movie successful. Having Tom Cruise back in the pilot or in the cockpit as Maverick and training a whole new generation of pilots is the appeal of the movie. You recast that character or you leave him out altogether and that movie is not what it is.
I don't think it would be as successful. It wouldn't have made $1.469 billion.
I mean, like I said, it's a technical thing. I don't see that. I don't see that really proving at the point of that he's irreplaceable actor.
Well, it does prove that he can't be replaced for every movie.
Gray.
Sorry, I was addressing a legal note. So I think that we're getting beyond the point here. You see, Labs, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like Bob was getting somewhere on how this couldn't be replaced. And instead we got off to, well, if he was replaced, then he would be replaced. Where, yeah, I don't think anyone's arguing that. I think Bob was talking about how Maverick is dependent on Tom Cruise. Am I wrong in that, Bob?
Well, I mean, he is Maverick. That people see him as that character. Again, you try to cast somebody else in that role, people are not going to accept it the same way. We've had, prior to that film coming out, it had almost 30 years of knowing him as that character, or close.
Indeed.
To it.
Indeed. Yeah. Would you say that anyone else would have the same impact if they just started talking about gooses? Would it have that same emotional impact, or does it have to be Tom Cruise himself?
No, I cannot see Brad Pitt saying, "Talk to me, Goose," in the middle of the test flight.
Well, you could easily Brad argue Pitt if it was Maverick's son, if they casted someone to be Maverick's son and Tom Cruise wasn't in it, would this movie still had good word of mouth? It would have still had the same flights, would have still had the same flying action. It would have been.
But would it have made $1.496 billion?
But did it make $1.496 billion because of Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would disagree, especially if you replace him in the first Top Gun. They would be, to me, this is like a semantics argument, because we're talking about, if you were talking about sequels, then he would have been replaced in the original too, according to my theory. So then, I mean, yeah, you can't replace him.
Okay,
but I can't. Well, if we're doing that, I can only argue facts.
Hold on.
He was in the first one.
I brought up the fact that that was semantics to begin with, because you were saying that the argument was that he could not be replaced in any movie, and it would be, you could replace him, in any movie, and it would be just as successful. That was the original debate.
Yeah. We should have put a caveat in there for sequels, because technically
I did at the beginning.
Sequels, I mean, it's kind of a given that if he's not in the first one, he's not going to be in the second one. So I mean, I didn't even think about sequels as part of it, but I still stand by. Like if you replace him in Top Gun, then they're going to bring that actor back for the Maverick. Okay. And I don't see anything he did in Maverick aside from the fact that he was just in the first movie.
Charles, would you like some methamphetamines?
Yes.
Okay. You can have some. I have a whole shit ton of them. They're great.
Respect your court. I just did not expect that.
It's not hitting me fast enough. Excuse me.
Oh no.
That is a good argument.
Indeed.
Appreciate
it. All right. I guess if it behooves the court, I guess I would like to call one Lunchbox Warren to the stand then.
Go ahead.
Okay. Lunchbox. So when you say the same, what do you mean? Do you mean it would be the same, like, identical box office?
If we replaced him in the first Top Gun movie?
In any of his movies. Do you think that there's no box office draw that comes from his name alone?
No, I don't think there is.
So then it would be identical box office, is what you're saying.
If you
Same
use
would
the
be-
same caliber actor as in like who someone along that same time period, then like okay, Mission Impossible, I would argue that even like all the Mission Impossible series would have been just as successful with like Brad Pitt in there or someone along those lines closer to the same age or someone around that time period than Tom Cruise. That's essentially the nexus of the argument, is that Tom Cruise doesn't bring anything to a movie except for he does have that
Just
name
trying to-
recognition, but it's not like there's anything where he's not elevating anything. Also,
I'm just trying to understand what you mean by the same.
hold on,
If you're
hold on.
meaning like it just identical box office,
I think it's either identical
hold on.
or better.
Hold on. I got to address something here. Stiff Kitten says, someone call objection, please, on this, replacing him with another actor. Well, that is the whole point of the arguments here. That's kind of what we're doing. Like,
That's the slander. That's the charge.
That's what Warren is trying to say, that's what it would be. And we're trying to figure it all out here on the courtroom drama.
All right, Warren. So you're saying it would be roughly equivalent box office. So would it be the same cultural impact?
Yes, if not better.
Okay. Identical tone? You think Brad Pitt could match, say, the dramatic peaks of one Tom Cruise?
I think he could do better than one Tom Cruise. That's the point. I think that there's actors who can do more range emotionally that would make films better than what he can bring to it. Like Last Samurai is an example of that, where if you had like a Kurt Russell or a Brad Pitt, if Brad Pitt, who brought the emotional range of a traumatized PTSD soldier in Legends of the Fall, if he brought that into Last Samurai, that movie would have been better. A film carried by its supporting actors, not by Tom Cruise.
Your Honor, objection. He keeps rambling instead of staying on to the point. I'm gonna have to treat him like a hostile witness if that's all right with you, sir. All right, Warren. Would you have identical audience reaction to it?
I think you could have better.
Identical critical reception.
I think it could be better.
I think
identical physical performance.
I think it could.
Final question, Your Honor.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Then how do you explain F1 versus, Top Gun Maverick?
As in what, for box office or for
box office, critical response, audience reaction, the overall tone, the cultural impact, and identical box office results?
I think that F1 was better than Days of Thunder if we're going to equate films of similar type.
I don't think we're talking about similar ones. We're talking about similar director. We're talking about actors around the same age doing a very similar thing.
Yeah, he asked you a direct question.
What?
He asked you a direct question.
Maverick is a legacy sequel from a film that was very popular in the 90s. F1 is a brand new film and a franchise that came out of nowhere. A film that was carried a lot by the performances and also the mood of the director of it. I mean, it was a very successful film with no legacy or nostalgia points behind it. So again, Maverick, yes, was a successful film. But if we're going to equate
one would say more successful,
a legacy sequel to a film that's coming right out of the bat, brand new, then I don't even think that's a fair comparison.
So
I'll let the jury decide.
You should probably call your other witness. We should hear from this guy.
Yeah,
he looks really
please,
enthused.
Your Honor, right to recall the witness if needed. But for right now, I would like to call one Charles at YouTube at WILIscredia. Charles, sir.
Yes.
I know that you have a certain expertise with movies. I have heard that you think that there is at least one role that Tom Cruise could not be replaced in. Is that correct?
Yes.
What role would that possibly be?
Ethan Hunt throughout the Mission Impossible franchise.
You don't think like an Emilio Estevez or someone could have swapped roles with him?
Emilio Estevez was in Mission Impossible 1.
He was in the first one, but you don't think that he could have switched to the Ethan Hunt role and it would have been just as successful?
No. The difference between...
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
The difference between 1996 Mission Impossible and Mission Impossible since 2010 is Tom Cruise has basically taken the stunt aspect and willed the box office himself by doing his own stunts, which no one really is doing in the age of CGI. So the other thing that I would say about Tom Cruise and his ability to be a chameleon is people always compare Tom Cruise lately to things like Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s or Sylvester Stallone in the 80s. But the difference is you can have Tom Cruise in a movie like Magnolia. You can't have Arnold Schwarzenegger in a film like Magnolia. So as far as
A Paul
box
Thomas
office,
Anderson classic.
as far as box office is concerned, between the aforementioned Top Gun Maverick and anything called Mission Impossible in the last 5 to 10 years, the fact that makes it such a big draw is because you know it's Tom Cruise in the cockpit. You know it's Tom Cruise hanging off a plane. You know it's Tom Cruise jumping off a cliff. And everything that's happening is happening in camera. It's not some CGI magic. So people are going to see Tom Cruise nearly kill himself. And one day they'll see him do just that. As long as the camera's rolling, they're going to go and see it.
So I'm going to speak here. And I actually knew, I had a feeling you were going there because that's kind of what I was thinking. And it's interesting to hear that from Charles, because I almost thought the same exact thing, where it's like sometimes people get attached to a specific actor and it's not really necessarily the movie. It's like, hey, the new Tom Cruise movie is coming out, or the new this is coming out. That has been said all throughout the 90s. And he's one of the few that I think I'm a very good witness for this, because you all know I don't watch shit. But I know about the new Tom Cruise movie that is coming out. So go ahead. Sorry, Charles, if you have anything else to say.
I think I was done.
Okay.
I think.
Charles, I have one follow-up question for you. Have you ever seen a Jackie Chan movie?
A handful, not most, but some.
Have you gone to most of them because of the plot, or was there another reason that intrigued you?
No, he's an excellent fighter, and he too does his own stunts. The Rumble in the Bronx is not what I go to for my accurate representation of the Bronx.
But was it enough that it drew you in? And then, do you think anybody else could do that same thing, or do you think this is one of many who kind of takes that whole charisma meets doing their own stunts thing, and it becomes the draw itself?
I think there are some that could do something similar, but that number of people is very small.
Yes.
Agreed. No further questions, but I reserve the right to call the witness if needed.
Okay. So Warren, after that argument, I think we have to address not, okay, well, if my argument is that Tom Cruise wouldn't have been in Mission Impossible, so therefore this. He makes our arguments outside of that case. He makes arguments of people are going to see these movies because of what he's doing on camera. None of those other actors would be doing those things on camera. Therefore, the draw might not be there. So what say you to that?
No, it's an excellent point. Because that's also was kind of my point too about the Mission Impossible series, and also about Tom Cruise, is that the draw has nothing to do with his acting ability or his presence or what he brings to a film that way. He's doing his own stunts. So then that's what we're going to go see, because we're seeing Tom Cruise actually hanging off the side of an airplane, which was impressive as hell, when he's doing his own mountain climbing in Mission Impossible 2. That is impressive. And you really can't take that away from him. But also something else that Charles said that is also correct is that, yes, you can put Tom Cruise into a Magnolia movie, and you could put him into a Last Samurai. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is you could put him in all these movies, because he is insert actor A who has been in a crap ton of gigantic movies that now his name is tied to a level of quality of production and film, right? So Tom Cruise himself doesn't do anything in Top Gun that makes Top Gun what it is. Top Gun is what it is in my argument, whether you insert people in there. Now, Mission Impossible gets harder because part of the Mission Impossible draw, like you guys said, was him doing his own stunts. So would the films been as popular if he didn't do his own stunts and it was just Tom Cruise playing Ethan Hunt? And that's another thing too. It's like, so if he's not hanging off the side of a plane, and instead it's stunt actor who looks kind of like him, and if he's not actually jumping a building, not actually doing the rock climbing, and they're not doing entire backstories about him doing his own stunts, would people still have went to go see Mission Impossible? Now, the Maverick one, of course, is a great argument because it's a sequel, because he was in the first one. You're talking about nostalgia bait at that point also. But then if we take out the fact that he's in the first one, then in the second one, does it still sell if it's Tom Cruise Maverick, but it's Tom Cruise Maverick being played by someone else aside from Tom Cruise? Did Tom Cruise define the Maverick role, or was he playing Maverick in a movie that ignited a genre in the 90s that everyone was just flipping out about? That's also kind of the thing. It's like, if you take away him doing his own stunts, does Mission Impossible make it to 8 movies?
Okay. So I just think that's besides the point, because we're talking about replacing him, period. You're replacing him, and is it as successful? Regardless of what made it successful, that's what made it successful. So if you take something away from that, would it be as successful? Probably not. Probably not. The Mission Impossible show was nowhere near as successful as the movies. There's other things that they did to expound upon those things, and we saw. Look at 1 and 2, especially 2. You know what I mean? Like, wasn't that Ang Lee?
2 was Ang Lee when he was doing the
and it was like bikes spinning around. It was ridiculous. Look what he turned it into. And I'd like to think that when people look at that, they probably go, I want to see this guy do these things. When I see this movie, I know he's doing this. Like Charles said, this is not some CGI bullshit. This is not the uncanny valley that I'm looking at. This is actually the guy doing it.
He's a great stunt actor.
But that is the draw.
Yeah, he's a great stuntsman, but he's just not a good actor.
100%. Yeah. But that's the draw. That's the draw of the movie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But my whole nexus of this argument was that he's not a good actor. He's a moderately just bland actor. And then, yes, he has to try to kill himself in order to make a movie successful.
But
that's what Jackass is. Jackass is just people trying to kill themselves.
But that's also the besides the point, to be honest, because the way we framed this was, could you take him out of this, replace him with actor B or A? And it really hurts whenever you say someone who is just as good as him, because you're taking something that you say he's not good at and saying we could replace him with Brad Pitt, who you're saying is an extraordinarily better actor than him. So wouldn't you have to take a better performance? But wouldn't you have to take someone who is the equivalency of him?
Well, then
because the name would be the draw. Let me speak. I am the judge. You shall listen to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have gave you a good ass kissing run like Gray did before we started.
Dogs have happened.
I respect the court. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm just fucking around. But
you handle your case your way.
I think
I mean, you guys are making good points, but I think my point is getting lost. Where
I'm
not saying
I would agree.
I'm not saying that he's a poor actor. I'm just saying that he is a baseline normal actor, and that anyone could either do what he did or go higher.
Your Honor, there is nothing normal about Tom Cruise. You must strike that from the record.
That's very true. There is nothing normal about him. We're going to strike that from the record.
If I could say something real quick.
Yeah, Bob.
Please.
Okay.
Bob, you could.
If we could hear from Bob.
A generic actor is not going to be nominated for Best Actor for Born on the 4th of July. Jerry Maguire.
Indeed.
Best Supporting Actor for Magnolia. He's also he's not going to have won a Golden Globe for his role in Jerry Maguire or be nominated for Best Supporting Actor in Tropic Thunder. He has been nominated for multiple awards, including People's Choice Awards as well, where he has actually won the Best Actor. And that's the people talking. So the people don't think he's just a generic actor who can just be randomly replaced with somebody else. Not anybody can win these awards or be nominated for these roles. For example, A Few Good Men. I know that for me, this is a role in which I think he does shine with his acting ability. Again, he was not nominated for a Golden Globe with this. And yes, I won't lie, Jack Nicholson's performance is the one that stands out. But part of the reason it stands out so well is his back and forth with Tom Cruise during that scene. Also, Tom Cruise holds his own with Kiefer Sutherland during the scene where he's questioning him. And I think that scene has a lot of good acting chops to it as well. So just an example, again, Jerry Maguire, in which he actually won the Golden Globe. Not anybody can yell out, "Show me the money," the way that he does with that passion and that energy. It is the reason why he won the Golden Globe and was nominated for Best Actor for Jerry Maguire.
All right, we got some comments here that are very interesting. Justin Gray makes a very interesting comment here. He says, if they could replace him with someone else, wouldn't they have done it? There's other white guys who don't need $100 million.
Case closed.
There's a lot of things that I think that work for your argument. I do believe that early in his career, there are movies that he could have easily been replaced in. But once he made his name, it's kind of hard, especially in the 90s where they were selling movies based off of actors. It wasn't necessarily like, hey, you when NASCAR wasn't even that popular. Hey, you want to come see this NASCAR movie? Because fuck, 10 people watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't the selling point. The selling point was this actor is in this movie. So it's hard to sway people on that. And, you know, like Born on the 4th of July, there's other movies that he's done. I think the Legend one, I think that you sell that short because, yeah, Brad Pitt could have been in that movie, right? But Brad Pitt does not fit exactly what that movie called for. Like the way that Tom Cruise
he's a bit taller
in that movie, very sprite-like, very like the way that the movie is filmed. I just don't think you could just put someone in there and it be like just as successful or just as, you know, nostalgic for people. I just don't think that can apply. But Gray, do you want to call Charles back here?
Your Honor, yeah, I would
Huh?
like to choose the movie expert witness, Mr. WILIscredia, Charles, sir, sometimes known as Will. Sir, can I ask you? I have a question for you. Do you think that there is an actor alive today that could be, or even would have been a contemporary actor at the time, who could be as loved while still being as smarmy of an asshole as Tom Cruise? Think of the characters that he's played. You know, the brother in Rain Man. He is a complete ass from the beginning, yet somehow he has the charisma for you to root with him. Think of Cocktail. He is also an asshole. He, you know, just kind of lives by some weird bartender's code, but still, you somehow root for him. Can you think of another actor that could do that level of asshole yet charming?
Chevy Chase?
I don't think he's got the charming part. He's got the asshole down for sure. And you might have an argument with Bill Murray as well.
Robert Downey
I don't
Jr.
think he got that charming root for. I really
Downey
don't see
Jr.
how Robert Downey
This
Jr. would
argument
have
is
worked
Too
in all of
diverse,
those.
too much nuance here.
I don't think there's a lot of nuance in this.
Well,
fair enough, Charles.
Let's stick on the topic.
Charles,
of the movies.
Is there a movie that you think could not be played by any other actor other than Tom Cruise that we haven't discussed yet?
That could not be. I'm sorry. Reword it. I misheard it. I apologize.
A movie that could only be played by Tom Cruise.
Other than
Other than what
Mission
you
Impossible
mentioned
franchise.
before, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
If there's not, that's okay.
The aforementioned Magnolia. Do you think anybody else could have done that? The
I do,
so-called
but to kind of counter
Ooh.
counter my discussion about Mission Impossible, I think Edge of Tomorrow, because he's an inverted version of what you expect Tom Cruise to be. I think people went and saw that and enjoyed the fact that they saw Tom Cruise as something of a puss. He was a coward in that movie, and it still ended up being an action film. So I think you don't have that audience expectation because, hey, it's the new Tom Cruise movie. We're going to see the brand new insert Mission Impossible adaptation here, but it's not. It's Tom Cruise in an action film, but it's Tom Cruise as a coward, as a guy who's trying to avoid going into the fight. So, you know, the audience is going for one thing, and they're going in for one thing, and they're pleasantly surprised by the change.
I really like that answer. Can I ask you, I know you happen to be a big fan of Kubrick. Can you see that movie being the same? Again, we're talking about Kubrick's highest grossing film, Eyes Wide Shut. Can you see that film being the same with any other actor? Could you see a Brad Pitt pulling off that same, I don't know, inhuman quality?
If you replace Nicole Kidman with Angelina Jolie at the time, maybe.
It was a gimmick movie.
We're not talking about like recasting everybody. It's supposedly just him.
Time out. What did you say, Warren?
Eyes Wide Shut was a gimmick movie because you got to see Tom Cruise fuck his wife on stage.
And then they got divorced right after it.
That was the only reason why people went to go see it.
Wait.
It sounds to me like Warren was just saying that this is a one-of-a-kind thing that nobody else could have done because nobody else was married to that woman at that time. Wow. Thank you for that concession, sir.
Tom Cruise is irreplaceable because he could fuck his wife on screen. That's great.
Yes.
So you're saying
few have done that.
So you're saying that it had nothing to do with Stanley Kubrick making a movie in the modern day? Absolutely not. The only reason why people went there was to see Tom Cruise bang Nicole Kidman.
I would say 80% of the people that went to go see it went to go see it because of Tom Cruise was going to bang his wife on stage or on film.
But to be fair, we had already seen that before in Far and Away, which the two were in that movie
but
together.
This time no Irish accent, so it is better without the accent.
Was Brad Pitt not also in that movie?
Which
or
one,
was
Far
that
and Away?
Legends of the Fall?
No, that was
he was Legends of the Fall.
Yeah.
Far and Away was where Tom Cruise was what was he with, like the Irish boxer?
He's an Irishman.
Yeah.
Ron Howard.
Two Irish immigrants coming over, trying to make a better life in America.
Didn't really stick the landing on that movie.
Ooh, I'm glad to hear the jury didn't go there single-mindedly.
I went to see it because it was a Kubrick movie.
To be fair, of the $162 million that Eyes Wide Shut made, 20 million of it was the U.S. So Americans weren't that impressed one way or another.
That's very.
We were impressed.
It's the rest of the world.
How dare you?
Well, they didn't go then.
Okay, Charles. There's another little film that I think you have strong feelings about. Are you familiar with Vanilla Sky, sir?
Sure.
Do you think that there's an American equivalent to that movie? Yes, it is a Cameron Crowe adaptation of a Spanish film, and it is nearly a shot-for-shot remake, but that's a Hollywood thing. They do that a lot. I can't see any other actor pulling off that particular role. You need his certain personality, you need that draw, and then it also had the mystique of, I think there was also, wasn't he dating Penelope Cruz at that time? And, or there was something around that. And then I also believe that there was, the implication that perhaps his pretty face wouldn't be so pretty in this particular movie. I can't see anybody else replacing him. With your movie expertise, can you see another actor replacing him in that role? And if so, who?
Yes, and the aforementioned Brad Pitt around that time, you could
I
certainly
can't
Brad
see that
Pitt
happening, man.
as the pretty boy in 2001.
I just can't. So I believe it
You
was
can't.
99. I just cannot. Or wait, no, it was Magnolia 99. I think you're right. I
Magnolia
think
is
I
99.
switched those two. Yeah. Fair enough. I don't think that Pitt has the range to kind of be from party boy to sulky. I've seen him do either. I haven't seen that huge range, but this isn't about Brad Pitt. This is about, would that movie have had the same impact? I think it would be like many of the other remakes that just kind of get done. They just kind of fizzle away. It is that particular actor, but fair enough. Charles, is there any other movie that you can think of that could not be done by anyone else?
I off the top of my head, I don't know. It's hard to.
Your Honor,
It's
he
hard
has
to answer
lied to
with
me.
a what
In
if.
pre-trial, he said that there was a long list. I am not getting a long list from him, Your Honor.
It's okay. I like Charles.
I'm just
I'm
saying
gonna let it
permission
happen.
to treat him like a hostile witness.
No,
Well, you haven't seen me hostile.
Charles, you can be hostile, but Bob,
He has sabotaged my case, Your Honor.
Bob,
I told you before we started, I'm not exactly sure where I am on this.
yeah.
Well, what am I
How dare
saying,
you?
Charles?
But,
You swore under oath.
so at least we could say that there's 4 people here who feel that there are movies that Tom Cruise cannot be replaced in. I would say there are some. Warren is the only one who is feeling that way, that it's just impossible. It seems very, very, I would say, obtuse to feel that way, but you're allowed to, and that's the way that the world works. You can feel that way. It's things like where he's directed movies that he starred in, so it's kind of like, how the fuck would that work anyway else?
And okay, and let's take away the courtroom deal here for a sec.
Mhm.
And
Thank God.
there is something honestly to be said about
Boo.
if you Tom Cruise builds up a name and it's in the movies that he does, whether he added to those movies or whether he just was in a great position to be casted, he does create a name, and that name is a draw. So then yes, it gets harder, especially the more famous he gets, to bring this argument into fruition. If we just did a theoretical where we just said Tom Cruise never became an actor, and then whoever fit into that role of Top Gun, well, now does that person get the continuing roles and do those movies now having to cast someone else? Do they get better or worse? That's all a matter of opinion. But there are certain things that were brought up, like, of course, Maverick, and there is a draw to his name with Mission Impossible. Those movies essentially survived off the fact that Tom Cruise was willing to try to kill himself to do his own stunts to do those movies.
Your Honor,
we gotta address a couple of things here. Fourth row down says, I say again, Steven Seagal, and Nightmares and Nerdscapes makes one of the best arguments here. He says, gasp. Are we dipping into string theory now? And I like to think so, but I think it's hard. Good, Charles. Hold on. Let Charles go ahead.
No, the thing that Hollywood throws money at is the intangibles that Tom Cruise is. Like, people are shocked at the performance of The Mummy because, Hollywood, Universal gambled on that. But what about Tom Cruise's career made you think, oh yeah, he can restart a horror franchise? It's just, he's been so good with everything that, again, it's an intangible where they're like, all right, throw Tom Cruise in this thing and it will make a shit ton of money. You can't say exactly what it is that he's doing. It's not like he did his own stunts in The Mummy, although he did roll around that airplane for a little bit, but it's the first time that they actually gambled on something and it missed, and like they were shocked like it was his fault. And I don't think it was his fault. There is some sort of intangible aspect about him, but until they can put their finger on it, they're going to keep gambling with him.
Yeah.
Right.
Your Honor, I would like to press Warren with that point. Warren, along those lines, are you saying that the studios, the producers, the global markets, they've been accidentally treating an interchangeable actor as irreplaceable for 40 years, then?
No, I'm not saying that.
So is it possible that your statement was overstated?
Well, which statement? I made a
That,
couple of them there.
True. That he could be replaced in any role by any actor, and it would have the exact same impact.
Do I stand? Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I still stand by that.
Okay, I'm just saying if you want to recant. So to summarize, you're saying that stunts don't matter, charisma doesn't matter, chemistry doesn't matter, longevity doesn't matter, cultural impact doesn't matter. Only the script matters, and that's your sworn petition?
No, what I'm saying is that that he doesn't have any charisma, that the stunts is what was driving the people in to see the movie, and that's the kind of stuff that's what I'm kind of saying.
He definitely has
one of a kind stunts that we're talking about.
He jumped on a couch with Oprah.
He has the
Come
charisma
on, everybody.
of a fence post, guys. Like, honestly, where is his charisma at in any of his roles? Where is?
Have you seen him on a couch?
Okay, so he's good on Oprah.
You can't take your eyes off.
He's an insane man. So yeah, he's a really rich guy who's insane, who tries to kill himself in action movies. But that doesn't mean anything about charisma.
I thought he was very charismatic in Jerry Maguire. I thought he was very charismatic in that movie. Yeah. I thought he was very charismatic in Tropic Thunder.
But isn't there something for morale on set? If you're working in a film with Tom Cruise and you know this guy's going to do everything he possibly can to make sure this, not only this film works, but you know, Hollywood as a whole keeps going and you know, the theater industry is still doing well. Wouldn't that be inspiring for fellow cast members to be like, oh, this guy's going to jump in front of an airplane for us. I might as well bring my A game.
That's very true.
Unless you're a stunt actor, then you're like, damn, I'm out of work now.
Well, I would like it on the record that
let's
Tom Cruise.
Let's address one of these. Troy McClure says, what about Interview with the Vampire? If the creator who doubted him from day one said he is Lestat, and she did. She doubted him from day one. Anne Rice was like, nope, don't want him, want nothing to do with him. And now she is 100% on board saying he is the version of Lestat that she sees from her books, and that is the lady that wrote the books.
Yeah.
So no charisma.
Well, no, that's probably the best argument that's been given tonight about Tom Cruise in an irreplaceable role, that the creator sees him as that role, as that character, because that was all down based purely upon his acting ability. Not
actually, no, it was based. He got the role based on his appearance. She didn't want anything to do with it.
Well, no,
it was the fact that he did it so well and encapsulated the role that she now thinks that is the definitive version of Lestat.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean, is that his acting ability in that movie, that would probably be the best argument that I've heard tonight, because he acted as Lestat and he convinced the creator that he was in that role. So that's purely based upon his acting ability in that role in that movie. So
Justin Gray says, young Clip Warren, you don't know the science. Tom knows the science.
he is, yes, he is the science.
No, but like in all honesty, we're just having fun here. So we're gonna we're gonna die down the courtroom stuff. We're just gonna have a conversation for the rest of the show. It was fun for me. I thought it was fun.
We're not gonna go to the jury for
we will. We'll go to that. We'll go to them at the end of this. We'll go because most everybody in the there's tons of comments here. Most everybody in here likes Tom Cruise. So
tainted jury.
Very tainted. Very tainted
jury. We need to have a proper jury selection.
So wouldn't you be able to say, like, they're in that argument though, wouldn't you be able to say, like, they could take any actor, like someone who may have even defined a role, right? Maybe even define that role, and take someone who is just as charismatic or just as good at acting in that, and we don't know if it would be just as good, right? We don't know. Correct. That's it. One of the few people that we know is like Daniel Day-Lewis, second half of the career. It's kind of hard to be like stick someone who, because I don't know anybody who could play those roles like he does, you know.
Yeah,
So
he's kind of a special one. Yeah,
right. So it's like maybe Brad Pitt. Like, could that be reversed? Like, could there be someone that could have done Snatch or something like that, since he was doing a lot of the same roles at that period of time? And I'm just not saying Tom Cruise replace him, but couldn't they replace him with someone who was Brad Pitt like and just as good of an actor and just as good of this? Isn't that kind of the semantical debate that we've been having at this point?
Yeah, and that's a really good point too, because it's, for me, like when you talk about like Fight Club or Snatch, I have a hard time picturing anyone else in that role. Like when you look at Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Daniel Day-Lewis, he's kind of a force of nature, so we won't even count him. But it's like when you think of like Fight Club, it's like, oh geez, who else could have pulled that off as well as he did? Or like with Snatch, it's the gypsy boxer. I'm pretty sure
two roles though, man,
who could have done it, because like you said, we're talking about theoretical, so there probably is people that could have done it. It's just one of those things where he just defined that role, and I have a hard time seeing that with Tom Cruise, where it's like, okay, is there a role where if you did switch it out, that it would just be, aside from maybe like, was it Lex Grossman as Thunder in what was it?
Tropic Thunder.
Christopher Lambert would have just good at Top Gun.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. So here's where I gotta step in though. So you're only mentioning a couple roles, but if you're talking about like Risky Business, All the Right Moves, Legend, Top Gun, Color of Money, Cocktail, those are all literally right in a row. Those are all at 83 to Top Gun was 86. That's a 3-year period that, man, he nails that type of it's a smarminess, it is an asshole, but man, is he lovable, and he's able to kind of get you to root for him, even though he is not in any ways a good character or a good person. I can't think of anyone that you could put in that same role. Even if you're putting Brad Pitt in there, he's had some unlikable ones, but there's nothing like that weird twinkle in his eye and that dead smile that he has that don't match what his eyes are doing. I think he's irreplaceable in all of those roles. I just can't see. Yeah, sure.
Considering the time period when that stuff was made, All the Right Moves and shit. What's the one where he does the dumb dance in?
That was Risky Business.
Risky Business.
In the hall.
Yeah. You take, I don't know, considering the time period, you take Matthew Broderick and put him in that role. I could see that happening the same way. Because you're talking about the
Robert Downey Jr.
An argument for Broderick, sure. But if you're then going like Legend, Top Gun, Color of Money, and then he does Cocktail, which, take it or leave it. And then Rain Man is kind of his next big one. And then he goes right from that to Born on the 4th of July. And this is all within 5 years.
I think Rain Man's a big pivot for him.
The Rain Man's the pivot. That's right. You're right, Charles, because that's the one where the other ones are kind of similar in maybe not role, but movie. You know, he kind of plays the same type of person. But Rain Man was one where you could show acting chops, where you could show emotion and show things. But Lee Griffiths says there's no such thing as perfect casting. Just the first one you are shown, you don't know any different. That's
not
that
true.
Could be true. The
first time we got to see Jack Reacher on screen was where it was Tom Cruise. That is a role that he should not have been in. The person is supposed to be physically intimidating, just size alone. Like there is a part in the books where he gets shot in the pectoral muscle and his pecs are just so defined that it stops the bullet. I do not see that happening with Tom Cruise ever.
Nicholas Cage.
He bought the rights to these.
Nicholas Cage as Superman. We need
fair enough. I want to see it, dude. I need to see that. Yeah,
that would have been amazing. But I think I think there's a few things like, and you might be able to say, hit someone like in Jerry Maguire, right? And I say that the only reason why I use that a lot is because after that came out, and yes, the Show Me the Money, but everybody was saying that. Everybody.
It was cultural impact, man.
Right? I don't think.
Do you think
hold
of
on. I don't think if you put
follow-up
even
question.
an actor who is just as good as him, right? that does that line that people are going to be, they were saying it because the movie was successful in the fact that here is the guy that is selling the movie. It's Tom Cruise. Cuba Gooding Jr. was not selling you that movie. You weren't going there and saying, show me the money, you know, and the little kid maybe afterwards, but not going into that movie. That was 100% Tom Cruise.
Human head weighs 7
Question to the entire panel and to the audience as well. So when was Show Me the Money? Now I'm
96.
blanking on 96. Okay. So what was we keep talking about Brad Pitt. What was Brad Pitt doing around 96? Can you remember any line from any of his movies? Or any line that
What's
he
in
did?
the box?
All right.
What's
Fair
in
enough.
the box?
What's in the box did not occur to me, but other than that, it's like, I don't know. Most of my Brad Pitt lines are more of
You are a
reactions and
shitty
eating
lawyer,
stuff.
man. You're terrible at being a
How
lawyer.
dare you? You must kick this man, hold him in contempt. He is not allowed to make judgments on my character or my profession.
Let's be honest. Like,
On top of he undercut my case. He lied.
95 to 96, he did have, like, you know, he had 12 Monkeys, Sleepers.
Yeah, okay. What's his famous line from 12 Monkeys? What's his famous? I'm just saying, you're right. What's in the box is a great line.
That's not a monkey. I don't know, dude. That's why I'm up here. Because
I want
don't
you to
really,
hit me as hard as you
well,
can.
that's very true. That's very true.
Yeah, that's a different movie.
It's
It's
not
an
Fight Club.
It's an
Not
interesting.
99, not much later.
Michael says he wants so bad to agree with Warren because I am a Tom Cruise hater, but I can admit that he does sell movies. So yes, he is irreplaceable in some movies. It's very hard for me to find that you can't find one out of the hundred movies he's done where it's like that's one movie. Just one. It's kind of hard.
Well, no, I mean, you guys, they're like you said, that you guys have made really good points on a lot of them. I just see him as like a C-level actor who has a very big name behind himself. But when you really analyze like what he's doing in the movies, aside from the name or nostalgia along those lines, I just don't see him bringing a lot to a film like that. You couldn't have someone else bring in there. You know, like. Choice of films is big, like what Gray was talking about, the Cocktail, Top Gun, all the stuff running in the line. Now, if you take like someone like Brad Pitt was kind of doing, what was it, like Thelma and Louise, Legends of the Fall. He was kind of going to that pretty boy kind of route, and he decided to flip that by picking these kind of weird projects like Fight Club, Snatch, and it diverted his path of being like a stock actor where it's like, okay, we need pretty boy actor A to insert here. Leonardo DiCaprio did the same thing by picking a lot of different crazier roles. You don't see that with Tom Cruise nearly as much, except for when you're talking maybe like Magnolia or some of those other ones. But,
I don't know about that.
I don't
strongly disagree.
He did a few Good Men right after that, then The Firm, which is great, then Interview with the Vampire. Like, those are very different to what he was doing before that. Like, very different.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that. I don't, aside from, even with Lestat, I just didn't like him.
There's a difference between not liking someone, though, not liking them, and admitting the fact that, yeah, it works with him there. Like, it works with him there. Like, he's bringing something to the table. There's a lot of things that I dislike. It's just like with comics, right? It's just like complete the same thing, Warren, maybe to make an analogy that we both understand. It's the same thing as Frank Miller. Frank Miller does what in the 80s? Kills it, right? Kills it. What does he do in the 90s? Some cool shit, right? And then we get Holy Terror, right? We get Holy Terror. So would that be just as good as Crazy and Ridiculous or All-Star Batman and Robin if fucking, someone else writes it? I don't know, dude. I don't know if it would if that would hold the same thing. Like, I don't know if Dark Knight Returns would be just as good if a writer who's just as good as Frank Miller wrote that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
yeah.
I don't know if that's the same thing. It might not, be the same, but it's on the same level of where people think of Tom Cruise. Some people think he's one of the best actors alive. There's people that do think that.
I don't think that, but I do think there's something to what Warren is saying. But like, he's this anomaly. Like, how many actors do you know that go through phases? Like, you brought up the 80s. What is it? 88 through 99. Tom Cruise is in nothing but like, non-action films, with the exception of Days of Thunder and Mission Impossible. He's got Rain Man, Born on 4th of July, Far and Away, A Few Good Men, The Firm, Interview with a Vampire, Jerry Maguire, Eyes Wide Shut, Magnolia. That's like his 90s right there. But then he gets to pivot in the 2000s. Then suddenly, I'm going to be all the action industry needs right now. And like, I think when it comes to studios, they're really fickle and they don't want to gamble. And Tom Cruise kind of transcends that, where, you have this prejudice that like, we need this in our movie for it to succeed. But Tom Cruise kind of takes that and flips it on his head, where you don't need the person that you're thinking of to have like a film that he's in to succeed. I'll say it again. There's intangibles to him. I can't put my finger on it. Like, to Warren's point, if you bring up a Tom Cruise movie that isn't Mission Impossible and say, you want to watch that Tom Cruise movie? There's many times where I forget Tom Cruise is in any of those movies from the 80s or 90s, where it's like, oh yeah, that's a Tom Cruise vehicle. But there's got to be something in there that he's doing that causes him to be able to just jump from genre back and forth and succeed in all of these multiple different genres.
Yeah, there is something to be said for those who have seen him as right in the role. So Spielberg has used him twice. Cameron Crowe cast him, PTA for Magnolia. And then you've got Kubrick. There's a lot of people who did see that he's not just a plug and play actor. And man, on top of all the studios that back him and suggest him for it. I'm not saying that that's always correct, but I don't see anybody else that is on that same list.
There's a movie we're completely forgetting about that Steven Spielberg cast Tom Cruise in that we're not even thinking about. Steven Spielberg cast him to play the role of Austin Powers in and only that man could pull off that role of capturing Austin Powers' life on film.
You know what? Bob has just changed me now, Bob. That's changed my entire opinion.
I will say that opening that opening Goldmember is great.
So
shall we shag now or shag later?
So we have a few comments here. Lee Griffith says, I don't think Brad is a good actor, just a pretty face. That's definitely opinion.
Yeah. Have you seen Sydney Sweeney act recently? Because I don't know if
we have Mr.
I would call that talent.
We have Mr. Pink in here, 5 panel 13 watching. Actually, this is broadcast on a bunch of different things. We have over 30 people watching between this and Twitch. Filming Warren, one of your guys. Hey, what's up, Phil? Love
Phil.
He said, in fact, I would say he's ruined some movies because of his narcissistic interference and not staying in his lane and just acting. He destroyed a whole franchise before it even got off the ground.
Which
and
one?
He brings up The Mummy.
I think he's.
I don't know.
He's the Mummy one.
Yeah, The Mummy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was his fault, but I will say, hey, they gambled on him and it didn't work. And it did not work. It did not work. So yeah,
I don't know. If
that's a movie that you could have replaced him, and the movie still would have been shit.
Right. I don't know.
It would have still been terrible. Like no one could have saved that movie.
The movie didn't know what it wanted to be.
And I mean, I don't know what happened behind the scenes. Like if you look at the Black Adam, that movie was pretty much ruined by The Rock, but all of the choices that he forced upon the script and the director of that film. Right. But I don't know anything about the Mummy's background because, as far as I know, Tom Cruise is a very dedicated actor.
Have you seen
on set? he works hard. He wants everyone in there. He's professional. I mean, you can't say that about like anything about his work ethic, because from what I understand, he is hardcore, especially during COVID. He was very strict about everyone's following the rules. There's people that are depending on us to make this movie and make it go. So you can't take that away from him at all. So I don't know if there was something weird about the Mummy or not, because as far as I know, he always seems to fit whatever they need him to do.
Yeah, watch An American Werewolf in London and tell me they didn't copy their homework.
Yeah. We got Retro Ryan D says Tom Cruise is one of the most dedicated actors we have. He invests in his roles, and it would be very hard to find a replacement that could do his stunts alone. He brings authenticity to a movie. We have Justin. We got Justin, short hair Brad Pitt, spiky hair Brad Pitt, long hair Brad Pitt.
There's a medium length like Achilles Brad Pitt.
There is that. That happened.
Yeah.
That definitely happened. I think they call that talent. So, I mean, overall, I'd like to think that, there are actors in general that this can be equated to. A lot of them, just because you look at a movie and you like, especially ones that are kind of like mediocre to like, you could see it working. Maybe if someone else did this or if someone else did that. But there's some movies for him where it's just, for me personally, I just look at it and I go, I associate that movie with him. Even before it comes out, I'm like, okay, it's the new Tom Cruise movie. It's the same with like, oh, it's the new Spielberg movie, or oh, it's this new movie. So I don't know if I agree with you on that he could be replaced in there's a lot of roles when you look at all of his things. There's a lot, but then there's some like Rain Man, for me, Jerry Maguire, Legend, stuff like that, where I don't know if it works with someone else. That's my personal opinion. I just don't know if it works.
In 100% honesty, too, in a time period where name means nothing, he is one of the last names in Hollywood that still carries weight.
He's the last name in Hollywood.
He is the last name. Like, even Spielberg, even though like all of the other big names, who's the last name now that when they say he is associated with a movie, people's ears perk up? He's the last one. I mean, maybe Keanu with John Wick, but even then, it's like John Wick is not good. I mean, it's a stunt spectacular. It's not really an actor-driven movie or along those franchise. But Tom Cruise is really the last name in Hollywood where people could say is a draw still, even if it may be not as much of a draw as it used to be. But
yeah,
it's
they're
not
getting
a draw
9
for anybody.
figures, no matter what. They're getting 9 figures if it's Tom Cruise in that movie.
It brings attention to it that no other actor can really capture now as much as him. Like, this is at a time when the industry as a whole names are not nearly as big as they used to be.
That's very
Spielberg
true.
doesn't even carry the same weight, but Tom Cruise still carries weight, and that just being 100% honest, with that.
Not even Sydney Sweeney, and she carries 2 loads of weight, and
She
still
definitely
can't
Big,
make
firm,
money.
beautiful weight. Yes, a very rounded actor.
Dr. Ryan asks, and a couple other people have wanted to know thoughts on Last Samurai. Not whether he can be replaced or whatever, but what are your thoughts on that movie? And we'll go around the horn here.
I loved The Last Samurai. I think I always think it's funny that people think Tom Cruise is the last samurai when it's actually Ken Watanabe's character, the chief of the samurai. And I think it's a beautiful film. It should have I don't know how well it did, but it should have been, they should have been passing out Oscars. I think it's just an absolutely gorgeous film. And yeah, I love that one.
Gray?
Yeah, I probably need to rewatch that one. I rewatched a bunch of Cruise ones. Sadly, I left that one on the shelf. I know I watched it like when it first came out, but I think I'm confusing a lot of it with the Matt Damon Great Wall one, which I didn't like. So I think I need to go back and watch Last Samurai.
Well, one's like a drama, and the other one is just like
Gotcha.
Matt
I keep
Damon,
thinking like what
hey!
scenes happen, and it just keeps coming up with Matt Damon. So I need to rewatch that one.
That's it. That's fine. Charles, what do you think about
It's the same answer. It's been way too long.
Way too long. Bob?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it. Now I remember really liking it, and I do want to point out that he was nominated for a Golden Globe for his performance in The Last Samurai. But no, seriously, it's been forever since I've seen it, so I do need to do a rewatch. But I do remember really liking it.
Yeah, I liked it. I really liked it, but I also like very long, drawn out movies. So there's that. And I know when I saw it, I was like, okay, I know what they're trying to do here, and I know the story that they're trying to tell because I've heard it before. It's supposedly based on some story out there. And you couldn't have picked a guy that stood out more. Let's just say that. But what they in all honesty, and I'm not saying that it didn't work with Tom Cruise, what they should have done was cast someone that was taller than the Japanese.
I think Keanu would have been interesting in that role. I don't know if he would have been as good.
Well, he would have kept going like, whoa,
yeah.
quite a sword you have there.
He was good in that 47 Ronin movie.
Yeah,
he was decent in that one. I don't know though. I mean, yeah.
What's interesting, you brought up Keanu a couple of times now, and I feel like we're all just kind of forgetting that Collateral exists, because Collateral is kind of Tom Cruise as John Wick. And I can't
with a weird haircut though.
Right. I can't tell you what it is about that movie that makes it great, because I'm not really a big Michael Mann fan, but it's a solid ride.
I think it works too. I think it totally works. You're seeing him just as unhinged as everybody knew that he was. So it was kind of like, you know what I mean? Like you're almost like peeping a little bit inside baseball there.
To be that in real life, like he's an assassin for Scientology.
Now it's like someone stole L. Ron Hubbard's giant plate that they gave him as a necklace, and he's like, all right, I've had it. I'm getting that shit back.
Now, when it comes to Collateral, he was nominated for a Teen Choice Award for a movie villain when it comes to Collateral. So, no, but honestly, I think Collateral, that's a case in which it works because it is Tom Cruise, because he was always the hero or seen as a goody two shoe, even though he did play serious roles and stuff like that. But to see him in that villain role, other than Lestat, I mean, that was something that was different. And so I know that who was it? Was Jamie Foxx who was in that with him, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know Jamie Foxx's performance was fantastic in that. He got all the nominations, and rightfully so. But I think part of what makes that work is the fact that it is Tom Cruise playing the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely worked off there. And that was during the time where Jamie Foxx was like going from here to here,
Yeah,
up
Ray
that ladder.
was right around then too.
Yeah. So it's like you see that was like, could he make another actor? And I think that movie right there shows you that yes, he could do that, playing off of him. It kind of made Jamie Foxx pretty,
But like,
you could take him seriously.
Right.
that kind of
Right,
goes to
great.
my point earlier about, he takes your expectations of him and is able to flip it on its head. Like again, Edge of Tomorrow, he's a coward in that movie, which is not what you think of when you think of Tom Cruise. He's kind of a bit of a chameleon. Mummy tanked, it did not work, but he was in Rock of Ages.
That's
awful,
randomly
musical.
weird, right?
How
That
dare you
was
say it's
too.
awful?
So like
It was against his type. Who else could play that other than Bret Michaels?
no. But like the thing is, he'll give it a shot. Like you put him in something that is not like on brand for him, he's going to give it a whirl. And sure, it doesn't work all the time, but I don't know any actor that's been in every subgenre known.
Yeah.
So, Charles, the one that you were talking about is. Oh yeah, I can't wait to see Digger. But there's another one that's coming up. So, Charles, you were talking about Edge of Tomorrow. Is that the Live Die Repeat one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had seven
So
titles.
there's another one that he's doing another sequel for. It's currently in development, or it's unknown, I guess.
The
But it's
Digger
Live,
movie.
Die, Repeat, and Repeat.
Yeah, that's
So
that.
I don't know. Can you see anybody else in that particular role? To me, it seems very unique. They've done a bunch of them that are kind of similar to that, which granted, it's kind of similar to certain other ones, but man, that one plays so differently to me. Like I actually remember that, where I know I've seen 3 of them that were very similar since then. Couldn't tell you anything about them.
Well, yeah, I think it goes to, if you remember the trailers, it was like, oh, Tom Cruise saving the day against a bunch of robot alien things. But when you see the movie, you're like, oh, this guy's a pussy. Like he doesn't want to go in the fight. And you went to a movie to see Tom Cruise kick alien ass, and what you got in the movie was Tom Cruise doing everything he could to not fight aliens and kick ass. So it played your expectations and twisted it. And I think that's awesome.
Because especially the first time where he gets killed, and then he starts to think like where he got killed before, and the second time he goes running, dude, he does that run, dude, where he's like, fuck this whole thing. He's getting the fuck out of there, dude. I love that movie.
Like when he gets killed within like the first 10 minutes, you're like, wait, what the fuck's going on? Did they just kill Tom Cruise?
Yeah, that's very true.
It's such a fun movie too.
Some of the movies that he did right around the Collateral time. So he did the 2002. He did some narration for a space station documentary, but he did Minority Report, and then he did the Austin Powers cameo. He did Last Samurai, Collateral, War of the Worlds, Mission Impossible 3, Lions for Lambs, then Tropic Thunder, Valkyrie, Night and Day, which is weird. But yeah, like a lot of those movies in a row made a shit ton of money.
Well, there's one thing that you glossed over. So we kind of talked about his Oprah couch situation, but do you remember wasn't it Good Morning America situation as well? Where I think it was for Minority Report. For some reason, they were talking about Brooke Shields, who was going through postpartum depression. So she was using like, antidepressants. And that's when he came out on his anti-mental health thing. Just if you remember that whole, like, you're not a doctor thing. It was just a very strange time.
Listen, as far as a human being is concerned, I don't agree with Tom Cruise very much at all, but the motherfucker makes great movies. I don't want to hear him tell me about mental health.
It's just so funny,
I can't think of another star that could do that, though. Like, come out so anti-mental health and just be crazy on film multiple times, but then, we're still killing it at the box office.
Because it is Tom Cruise.
In that argument, though, I love how he goes, you're not a doctor, right? As if Tom Cruise's medical degree is patched all over him to where he has the hubris to tell you what not to do. And it's like, what? Thank you. And he still was famous, and he didn't eat shit for it.
Tom Cruise has that draw name, which we talked about earlier, and then Jamie Foxx hits big with some films. He's on the rise. Team up with Tom Cruise. Cameron Diaz was hitting big with Charlie's Angels and some other stuff that was going on. Team up with Tom Cruise. There is something about his draw, and then taking the rising star or the hot name at the time and putting them together, and you get a million, a big successful type kind of film. And it's almost like, I don't want to say paint by numbers to take away from the quality of the films, but it's just like, yeah, it's almost kind of win-win for studios for a time period there. It was like, all right, Tom Cruise, who's hot right now, let's throw them together into a movie, and we've got ourselves at least a summer blockbuster.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is the cheat code for studios.
Yeah.
So not to be a dick or anything like that, but the Cameron Diaz thing was actually Reunion. If you remember, they did Vanilla Sky together. Right, she was the crazy one.
Yeah.
So, Mr.
But still,
says,
they're hot.
Bob reminds me of Gnostic Informant.
I'm assuming based.
And this is pretty good because he's talking about Justin Gray brings up Paul Giamatti plays a pretty good orangutan slave master in Planet of the Apes. No one else could pull that off.
Pig vomit?
I'm just saying, Giamatti is amazing. I even like him in orangutan form.
Mark Wahlberg did not need to be in that movie.
That movie didn't need to be that movie.
Listen, I'm sorry. And maybe I'm just weird, but in that movie with Mark Wahlberg and the monkey people, was anybody else going, hey man, you're on a different planet. Why not just fuck the monkey chick? You could say you've never done it. You could be the first person to do it. Why didn't you?
I mean,
I'd
the
have done
pending
it.
doom thing.
Bestiality
Yeah.
rules don't exist on other countries, on other
Well,
planets.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
I mean,
when in
he's
Rome.
on. You see
It's-
where he ended up going to.
It's zip code rules. Is it?
It's zip code.
I'm on a different planet, so I can.
Yes.
I can.
Well, I
can-
just would have been like, hey, you never had that opportunity. Obviously, something was there. She was hitting on him. She did the whole this thing to him, like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would have done it.
Well, I know Tom Cruise wouldn't have done it because he's an honorable man, and unlike Mark Wahlberg, I don't know. But back to Tom Cruise.
Whoa.
What can I say? The dude can't be replaced.
This is how much he can't be replaced.
Okay, good.
That in the film Oblivion, we had multiple Tom Cruises.
It just made the film better.
So,
What's better
Also
than
directed by
Tom Cruise?
Joseph Kosinski.
That's a movie that I feel like if you take Tom Cruise out of it, no one cares about that movie. Like
Yeah.
that's
I
true.
own it. I refuse to watch it again. Like I know what it is, but it's just okay. Great.
Uh,
I don't need to watch it anymore.
Lee Griffith says, speaking about actors he loves in most roles and is just as much bad ones as John Travolta. He's in so many classics at the same time in that weird blue alien movie and
Fanatic.
Phonetic directed by Fred Durst. Excuse me, sir. Battlefield Earth might be the best movie of all time.
Oh, now we got
Oh,
to do
the
a People versus
performances.
Slaps because it's the whole-
Just spell my name.
When was the last time Travolta was in a solid movie?
Oh, no.
Fanatic, directed by Fred Durst. Come on, man. Did you not see it? His haircut alone. It was
Play
great.
a Little and Biscuit.
And Michael
That was the
agrees
last
with me.
movie he
See?
was in.
See, he agrees with me.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. Has he made a good movie in the 2000s?
'Cause he
Yeah.
was,
I don't
he
know
was in that
good
one
movie.
movie where he
He's
was
played
the
Santa Claus in those credit card commercials. And I thought those were pretty cool.
he did that one movie where he shaved his head and he was like a secret agent. Or
Oh,
something.
yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, he did that movie, and I'm trying to think. He also did like that straight to streaming movie where it was essentially kind of like a revenge. It was a revenge film, and he had the
Sure.
thing tattooed on his back, which I forgot what it was called because it wasn't that great of a movie. It had the Law and Order
Charles.
SVU guy in it.
What year would you be thinking of? Because I'm looking at his filmography here.
As far as what?
Travolta.
You said the 2000s.
Anything with a 2 in the front.
Okay, so
I mean, he was in
2000
Hairspray, man. He did good as
2000
Edna Turnbald.
2000 we're not going to count Battlefield Earth because Turl might be the best character of all time. He was in Lucky Numbers, Welcome to Hollywood, Domestic Disturbance, Swordfish.
Swordfish was awesome.
He was in
I'll
I
say my
remember
Swordfish.
I remember one part from Swordfish, or 2 parts.
Just a
I
couple
remember
parts
2
that are pretty
parts of
good.
Swordfish,
Two very
yes.
distinct moments in. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it had a huge impact on
Mhm.
my development
Yeah, I was
as a
quite young
movie
when I saw that.
connoisseur.
He
Yes.
was in, and then 2003 he was in Basic. Then 2004 Ladder 49.
Punisher, not the
A
good
Love
Punisher,
Song for
but the
Bobby
Punisher.
Long, Punisher, Magnificent Desolation. That was I think a document. No,
Be
no,
Cool
that
was
an
kind of
IMAX
all
movie.
right.
No,
Cool.
Be Cool.
get shorty.
Wild Hogs. Hairspray. The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
I need to rewatch that.
He played in that
Old Dogs.
in that O.J. Simpson
Oh, the series.
series.
yeah,
Right,
He played Robert Shapiro.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
It doesn't look like anything because like 2025 High Rollers. Then
What are
before
you
that,
talking
Catch
about?
Out, Shepherd Mob.
You brought up Wild Hogs. Why not Old Dogs, man? If Wild Hogs wasn't enough for you, you got Old Dogs, and they're
They
within
were
like
too
2
much.
years of each other.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, they are. They definitely are. He did Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. Then Old Dogs. Then
Are you undercutting Gotti? It is so awful. It's amazing. It's weird.
I'm not like you, Gray. I can't say things like that with a straight face and try to sell it to people that are actually going to go, "Hey, I'm going to watch that movie." I
Well, you
can't
probably
do it.
shouldn't.
Well, there you go.
I mean, it's no phenomenon.
if I ever get into trouble, I
Michael.
want Gray to defend, because
Dude, tell me
Gray, you
about
could
it.
defend the
listen,
devil and make
listen.
it sound interesting.
Charles has said this on I don't know how many occasions on TGIT. He said if his like life as a comedian was ever on trial, he would have Gray defend him to the end of the earth, because there are times on that show where Gray's defending something and we're both like, damn, we didn't even remotely think of those things.
I feel like
I like
one of
comedy.
these times I'm going to gather the courage to do it, where Gray's going to have to defend one of my bits against me. I'm going to be
Okay.
against my bit and you're going to defend it. And
Deal.
I feel like you would.
I'll tell you why it's genius.
You'll be more invested in it than I am.
I wasn't prepared for such a poetic, elegant argument. That's I just had to say.
So I think after, Bob, after all this was said, I think you made some very, very good points. I think we all did. I think we've gotten to the point that Warren just doesn't like Tom Cruise. So that's probably like the majority of why he's just like, no, fuck everything you're saying. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. Would you surmise that's probably where this is coming from?
I don't know if he necessarily hates Tom Cruise.
Okay, hate might be a strong word.
But he feels that he's a generic actor, and so he's allowing that feeling to cloud his judgment.
Ooh.
That again,
Ooh.
he cannot be replaced in Top Gun Maverick, or as Charles so eloquently put it, in the Mission Impossible franchise.
Well, especially the ones that he directed and starred in and wrote.
And again,
you know,
what other
Oh.
person can play Austin Powers directed by Steven Spielberg for that opening?
I don't
It's
know.
weird because I'm of two minds. Where
Oh, man.
like if I go to my collection right now, I'm not thinking Tom Cruise, but at
Mhm.
the same time, if you tell me Tom Cruise is, making an action film, I'm going to want to see it. You can tell me it has no title, whatever. It's Tom Cruise leading, and then you have some set photo of him dangling from a chopper or something. It's like, yeah, all right, I'll be there. So like,
Right.
I'm on both spectrums here, where it's like, yeah, I don't really care. Like, I don't seek Tom Cruise out, but at the same time, if I know he's making something, I know he's going to bust his ass. So I respect the process at the very least.
Would
Uh,
you say, Charles, that like with what you just said, you're not looking for Tom Cruise for the so-called acting chops. You're more looking
Right.
now towards the action-based movies
the-
that he does.
Yeah,
kind
the respect, the proficiency, like there's this like Swiss Army knife element to him, where yeah, he's not gonna be DiCaprio, which yeah, it's fine. I don't need that from him, but I would much rather him than, I don't know, some other person in a genre that they're not familiar with. I would trust Tom Cruise doing something I haven't seen Tom Cruise in, rather than, I don't know, Robert Pattinson in a musical. I don't need that. I don't have that type of faith in him.
So I do want to mention this comment, but this is Lee Griffith asked about Mel Gibson. I'm not going to get into I do have a Mel Gibson show planned at some point in time, so we're just going to stay on this topic right here. But yes, we will be talking about Mel Gibson at some point. I promise.
Staying on his directing list.
I think he's
I
talking
mean,
about a flight risk being a stain.
There's
on
a
the
flight
judgment.
risk.
Yeah.
But Charles, do you have any like last things to say, or is that basically it?
No, I was a
Kind of stuff.
detriment to both the prosecution. and
No, you
defense,
weren't.
so-
You weren't, because I think you brought up a couple of movies that you thought he couldn't be replaced in. So I mean,
Well-
that was the whole thing.
Dude, I don't know if you saw it in the private chat when the first thing came up about him being replaced in Maverick. I was like, Warren, bring up The Dark Knight, because they changed the actress from the first one, and it was way better the second
To the
time.
detriment. Gyllenhaal is so much better than Holmes. Come on.
Well, as
Well,
far
come
as
on, Holmes.
performance is concerned, Dark Knight did far better than Batman Begins.
But I would
Not
say,
based
but
off of Katie
is that-
Holmes.
But did people go to see that because of that? I don't know.
Well,
Maybe.
it's
But
possible.
it is. There is probably a very small sect of people that went to see that for that. But we'll get
Yeah,
to you great last.
you don't have anybody turning around saying, oh, I can't wait to go see The Dark Knight. Maggie Gyllenhaal's replacing Katie Holmes.
If anything, they're quite the opposite. I preferred Katie Holmes, but it worked.
And I agree with you. I do think that that's a case you can make, because I do think that she might have been better than Katie Holmes performance wise, but again, that's still subjective, because we're not talking about a lead character on that one.
Sure,
Yeah.
that's why, like this.
Yeah.
I was on two sides at multiple
Right.
times. I'm like, well, actually, wait, let me take this side because.
Well,
I agree with this.
that's I think that was the whole thing, though. I think every single one of us can see him being replaced in some movie.
Sure.
But I think the whole argument for the show, was just bring up anything that you don't see him being replaced, because Warren said he could be in every movie. So that's because I could be on both sides as well. There's some movies where I'm like, yeah, this would work better if it was done by Brad Pitt, or if it was done by somebody else. Like, it just didn't work for me in this. So, I mean, yes. But we'll get to Gray last, because he has a closing statement, which I think could be hilarious. And just by Charles's reaction there, like, wait, what, Charles? What are you? You are the Gray. What is he again? The bit definer. What did you say?
Oh my God.
He's a bona fide bit builder. And
Bona fide bit
he's,
builder. There it is.
Alliteration.
So, Warren, on your closing statement, do you still feel so strongly about what your original thought was, or could you possibly see a different side to this?
No, I definitely do, and then this is all in all honesty. What was said before, what was said before was like, sort of tongue in cheek, ribbing at Tom Cruise, but there is something about his overall impact, his name, his work ethic, and there's a lot of movies that would not have done as good because people went to go see it because his name was on the billboard. Now, I could go and say there's other movies where if you put someone in there who was a more talented actor, then maybe, it would have been better. But at the same time, though, there's some movies that would have never gotten seen because if his name wasn't on that list. So in all honesty, are there better actors than Tom Cruise? Yes. But is he irreplaceable in everything? That's getting into some kind of weird hypotheticals, and it's like there's something about his name, his work ethic, his impact on and off the screen, just like the intangibles that Charles talked about, the nostalgia that Bob and Gray have mentioned, the impact of his name, that we even all agree that he's the last person that still has a name that brings people in Hollywood, except for maybe some very rare cases. But yeah, I don't stand on that completely. I did it for the show, and I tried my best to try to defend it as hard as I could. But if I'm being honest here, no, he has had his impact, and there is something to be said about his career and about what he has done for cinema and his ability to draw people. So. Now, I may think that he's not the greatest actor in the world, and sometimes I think that he's just kind of paper thin. But at the same time, though, he's Tom Cruise, and there's a name that brings in $500 million just by sometimes putting his name on the ticket. So, movies get made because he is there. Like, you bring him on, now all of a sudden you went from $10 million to a $200 million budget. So you can't deny that kind of impact, and you can't deny what he did through the 80s, 90s. Maybe he doesn't quite, like you said, his impact is not as strong now, maybe, but it's still the strongest in Hollywood, and really no one's impact is as strong as it used to be. So is it really a knock against him that he's not as big as he used to be when he's still the biggest name draw out there? So yeah, in all honesty, no, he's not irreplaceable, and it would be a very different world if Tom Cruise in cinema, if he just never decided not to act and went to sell cars somewhere and did something along those lines. Who knows what franchises would have never got off the ground? Who knows what films we've never even seen without him being there? So yeah, in all honesty, no, I can't stand by that. I mean, some of my favorite films have Tom Cruise in it. Now, it's not necessarily because of Tom Cruise, but it's still the same though. I mean, he's still on a top 10 list of some of my stuff. So, and I love the Mission Impossible series, so I can go on and on, but yeah. So
my job is done here.
So
Bob,
all right,
you are the
before Gray
I'm just sneezing, man.
before Gray does his closing statement, I will announce that next week we will be doing our top 10 Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which is going to be fun. Charles is already hating this. He's like 2 weeks in a row. I hate all of you guys.
I would have laughed if you had come out and said, we're going to do our top 10 Tom Cruise movies.
We're doing our top 10 Tom Cruise movies. Yes. So, Gray, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I know you just heard a concession from Mr. Lunchbox Warren. However, that is too little too late. He had a chance to go ahead and withdraw his statements, but he chose to put his case on the line in front of you people to decide, the jury of his peers. We began this trial with a statement so bold it strutted into the room wearing sunglasses indoors, that Tom Cruise could be replaced in any film he has ever made, and the movie would be the same, not similar, not comparable, not maybe still good, the same. Over the course of this trial, we asked the defendant to define that word. He couldn't, because to defend it, he would have to deny the reality in 4K or 1080p, whatever we're broadcasting in. You cannot remove Maverick from Top Gun and tell the world nothing changes. That grin is not wardrobe. That energy is not props. That confidence is not CGI. You cannot remove Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible and claim the temperature stays constant. The man didn't just star in that franchise. He strapped it to his back and sprinted weirdly with his arms very straight through fire with it. You cannot replace the engine and insist the car sounds the same. Oh no. Lunchbox Warren wants you to believe that cinema is IKEA. Swap a part, tighten a screw, boom, identical shelf. But performance is not particle board. It is combustible. We showed you physical commitment. We showed you cultural impact. We showed you longevity that stretches across decades, like box office skyline, if you will, it going back numerous decades. Interchangeable actors do not carry franchises. Interchangeable actors do not anchor summer seasons. Interchangeable actors do not become shorthand for cinematic spectacle. And here is the heart of it. If Tom Cruise were truly interchangeable, Hollywood would have interchanged him. They have had 40 years to test the theory. They didn't, because the truth is obvious. Some actors fill a role, others redefine it. Lunchbox Warren did not offer critique. He offered exaggeration dressed as certainty. He tried to shrink a gravitational force down to background furniture. But gravity does not negotiate. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is not about fandom. It is not about credibility. Words have weight. And when someone declares that excellence is replaceable without consequence, that claim demands proof. He gave you none. So I ask you, when you deliberate, ask yourself one question. If you truly believe those films would be unchanged, would you bet the budget of the film on it? Because the studios didn't. Find the defendant guilty of cinematic defamation in the highest degree and let it be known in this court. Some stars are bright, some stars are fixtures, and some stars bend the entire sky around him, perhaps even make the sky dance, if you will. The prosecution rests.
Lock me up.
I don't. I don't. All I'm gonna do is this.
Sorry, Warren.
That's all I'm doing right there. That is it. That is all.
Having Tom Cruise on set is valuable because having Tom Cruise on a set for that script, he'd tell you to trim at least half of that. Get there.
And then he would have jumped off a building.
I got this.
So, everybody in the chat, if you just want to answer yes or no to the question, could Tom Cruise be replaced and the movie still be successful? And that's just not just one movie, but all movies. You can either write yes or no, or you don't have to say anything at all. My God, Gray, that was, how eloquent was that? How amazing was that? You in one soliloquy got a smoke detector and a third time's a clarence.
Indeed.
That doesn't happen all the time. You know. So we have one no, we got two no, but it's a razor thin take. Adonis, the A Train said no, but it's a razor thin take.
I had a poll in my chat. I said, is Tom Cruise truly one of a kind? And 73% said yes. 27% said no. Not the same question, but
right.
It's pretty close. Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it too for a survey.
All right. So while these are filling in, wait, Phil.
Thank you, Phil. Phil's got my back. I'm being taken down by a poetic cult.
Shit, Phil's on to us.
You're dressed like a heretic. What is that? Is that people in Heretic?
How dare you, Phil? Says everyone on the panel is obviously a covert Scientologist plant, except Warren. And Justin says Gray is badgering the witness.
Obviously.
Is it Latter-day Saints? Is that what I'm thinking of?
I think
that's
so.
the Latter-day Saints are the Church of Jesus Christ.
Got long sleeve shirts. I don't know. It's rolled up, but it's not short sleeve. That would be weird.
You're the boy version of the girls from Heretic, right? Like that.
He's the Jehovah's
I mean,
Witness.
it wasn't what I was going for. I just, my house is kind of warm, so I wasn't going to put on a jacket, but it's just a long sleeve shirt at a time.
I only know movies.
Not that weird. I just wanted to respect Laugh's court, okay?
Yes.
If you would have done those
the hat
statements in a
deserves
southern-
respect, people.
If you would have done those statements in a southern accent, it would have been perfect.
That would have been great.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
So Bob, what do you got going on this week, brother?
Well, being that I'm without a desktop again for a little while, I'm going to be kind of limited as to what I can do, but we are going to be doing Dad's Turn to Talk next week. We are going to be talking 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler,
Nice.
Drew Barrymore. We're also probably going to be doing an Adam Sandler tier list ranking on that episode, so that I think could be kind of fun. And then, yeah, I don't know how far in his career we're going to go because there's been so many straight to streaming ones, but we'll probably pick like a portion of his films and kind of go from there. But we'll be doing that. I'm also probably going to try to go see Scream next week. So hopefully I can get a review out of that. I actually just put one out for I Can Only Imagine 2, and it was not the best quality as to what I'm normally used to doing. So we'll see if I'm happy with still putting just something out there. So but hopefully I can get a review of that one out there.
Gotcha. Charles, what do you got going on?
I don't know.
Awesome.
February's
That's a rough month.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. We'll move on. We got Tuesday.
Yeah,
got
Tuesday.
Tuesday we got.
Are women funny?
I say yes. But again,
that's all I have to say.
I'm the comedy curator.
Lunchbox, what you got going on, brother?
I'm going to start tomorrow night at 8:00. I'm going to live stream working on character designs for my next comic book, The Squirrels That Saved Longview. I've almost got the script ready to start the first issue of the graphic novel. So I'm going to start getting the character designs ready for that. And I plan to almost stream nightly, except for Tuesday. I'll do my normal stream for my fan art drawings, and then Wednesday we're going to be going over Batman and Spider-Man and Wolverine #2, and then Friday we have the top 10 Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. But I'm planned to at nighttime around 8 p.m. 9 p.m. I'll be working on my comic book, and when I do that, I want to start live streaming the whole process. So I should be start going on pretty much nightly while I work on that. There's no reason why I shouldn't live stream it. So you're gonna get to watch me work on the character designs, constructing the pages, inking, gray toning, and then doing the lettering, the whole process through while I do this for the next couple months.
Yes. I might join you on one of those. I might do it here so we can have an extra screen for you.
Yeah, well, you guys are more than welcome any of those times to come and join me and talk with me while I'm drawing and stuff along those lines.
Might have to do that with you. Gray, what do you have going on?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, TGIT every Tuesday on this very channel, also known as YouTube at The Last Panel 1. Come on over. It's Tuesday. We're talking about comedy. We happen to be in the final week of preseason for March Hackness, where we are going to name, through a March Madness-like bracket system, the hackiest comedian. And then we are awarding them this very major award. So help us in the chat. We need to eliminate a few more names this week. But on top of that, I am aiming to prove my case to both Lapsed and Charles that women are funny.
Wait a minute.
They seem to be saying no, but I will show them and you if you come by on Tuesday.
Charles, I think this is one of his like scientifically proven moments, you know, that he baits us into, traps us with.
Yeah, he's fucking gaslighting. You ask a question and it gaslights you into thinking the answer.
He's got full lawyer mode.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Walking in the room, out this mode.
Objection leading.
Yeah, leading the Charles. That's it. You're leading the Charles, and that's not allowed.
But I think that's about the next thing. Other than that, the Thinkers, I think we are thinking this week. So that's YouTube at the Thinkers doing a think. That's doing a think, not doing. I believe we are actually doing the long-awaited review of the coffee table this week. So please come by, get an international opinion on it from people that don't appreciate cinema. This might be shocking to them. Come, experience it. But yeah, that's about all I got going on other than what we're doing next Friday, which right here, we're talking about Arnold. I can't wait for it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I got videos with TGIT. We're going to be trying to explain to Gray why women are funny since he doesn't think they are. And then on Wednesday, we're going to do me and Warren, and I think Gray will be there for Spider-Man and Wolverine, which was really fun to do. The first one was a lot of fun. And then Friday we'll do Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. It's gonna be fun. And you can always catch me on PlayStation at the Lapsed Comic Fan, playing some video games. I'm gonna be finishing out Dragon Quest VII and playing some Arc Raiders and being very upset at that game.
Why?
Because I get mad because I get stuff and then you have to like, you know, defend myself against massive arcs, it's fun as hell, but I always get angry because it's, you know, it's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun.
One drone we call the Asshole, which shoots rockets at you, and it's
If you're not prepared for it and it kind of sneaks up on you, it will ruin your whole run. But it's loads of fun. It's a lot of fun. But all right, guys, thank you very much for coming and peace out, y'all.